Sometimes inequalities have variable terms on both sides of the inequality symbol. So we're going to look at some real world models in which we'll be faced with variables on both sides. The Daily Info charges a fee of $650 plus $80 per week to run an ad. The People's Paper charges $145 per week. For how many weeks must an ad run for the total cost at the Daily Info to be less expensive than the cost of the People's Paper? So we want the Daily Info cost to be less expensive than the People's Paper. So if it's going to be less expensive, that means it can't equal. One definitely has to be less than the other. And they're telling us that W is equal to the number of weeks that the ad runs. So if I'm putting an ad in, I want to save as much money as I can. So I'm putting an ad or running an ad in the paper. Do I go with the Daily Info or do I go with the People's Paper? Whichever one is going to be less expensive looks like the one that I'm going to be going with if this is me trying to put in an ad in the paper for something. Now, the Daily Info charges a fee of $650 plus $80 per week. So they have a standard $650 cost plus $80 per week. So that $80 is a coefficient. And that's going to be less than the People's Paper, or we want it to be less than the People's Paper, which is strictly $145 per week. So that would be 145 W. 145 per week means that the 145 is the coefficient. I'm going to subtract 80 W from both sides, and I get 650 is less than, it looks like 65 W. So what I'm solving for is how do I get my ad to go into the Daily Info but have less cost than the People's Paper? Because the People's Paper is definitely less for a small number of weeks. But if I want my ad to run for a long time, that's where I might want to get into the Daily Info. And if maybe the Daily Info is where I want to put my ad, I don't want to spend more money. How many weeks will I get for that? Well, we're going to divide both sides by 65. So I have W on the right, and on the left, I have 10. So 10 is less than W means that W is greater than 10. So this is very, very important. When the inequality is written with the variable on the right-hand side, you can rewrite it with the variable on the left. However, your inequality symbol is going to continue to go in the direction of the variable. In this case, the inequality is going into the direction of W. W is bigger than 10. Same thing over here. When I rewrite it, W is still bigger than 10. So the number of weeks must be greater than 10 if I want to run my ad in the Daily Info and have the cost be less. So my number of weeks must be greater than 10. Here's another example. The home cleaning company charges $312 to power wash the siding of a house, plus $12 for each window. So home cleaning, $312 plus $12 for each window. So that 12 I know is going to be a coefficient. Power clean charges $36 per window, and that price includes power washing the siding. How many windows must a house have to make the total cost? How many windows must a house have to make the total cost from the home cleaning company less expensive than power clean? So we want home cleaning to be less expensive than power cleaning. I can also say I want power cleaning to be greater than home cleaning. Either way I write this is fine. Home cleaning is $312 plus $12 for each window. And we'll say that W is the number of windows. So $312 plus 12W, that's my home cleaning cost. We want that to be less than $36 per window, which would be your power clean. I'm going to subtract 12W from both sides, and I get 312 is less than 24W. I divide both sides by 24. $24 goes into 312. It looks like 13 times. So as long as my windows, number of windows is greater than 13, then home clean will be less expensive than power clean. Okay, let's check to make sure that you can come up with the correct inequality symbol for each one of these phrases. Go ahead and press pause and try to do that. And when you're ready to see the answer, hit play. Okay, when something is at most, it would be less than or equal to. Farther than would be greater than. Younger than would be less than. Up to would be less than or equal to. And we're going to practice solving each of these inequalities so we can get comfortable with the algebra. First example, 3 times the quantity, x plus 6, minus 2 times the quantity, x plus 2, is greater than or equal to 10. We'll start by distributing, giving us 3x plus 18. Then we're going to distribute the negative 2. Minus 2x minus 4 is greater than or equal to 10. 3x minus 2x is 1x. 18 minus 4 is 14. We subtract 14 from both sides, and we have x is greater than or equal to negative 4. On a number line, we have negative infinity to the left and positive infinity to the right. Greater than or equal to negative 4 is a closed circle, and greater than would be to the right. That closed circle is a bracket. So in interval notation, we have -4, comma, positive infinity. So we take this graphical representation, -4 is included, so the bracket comes down. -4 is the smallest value, comma, to the highest value, which would be infinity. Infinity is not a value that we can obtain, so we can't close in on infinity, so it can't be a closed interval. It's an open interval, which would be parentheses. Let's do the next. 5 times the quantity 3 minus x minus 4 times the quantity 2 minus 3x is greater than 2. We'll start by distributing the 5, giving us 15 minus 5x. Then we'll distribute -4 minus 8 plus 12x is greater than 2. -5x plus 12x is 7x. 15 minus 8 is +7. That's greater than 2. We'll subtract 7 from both sides. 7x is greater than -5. I divide both sides by 7. X is greater than -5/7. On a number line, -5/7 would be an open circle. X is greater than would shade to the right. So I would have -5/7 on the left, positive infinity on the right. -5/7 is not included, so it's parentheses versus the brackets, and infinity is always a parenthesis and never a bracket. This is a great example because I have fractions that I want to get rid of before I do the problem. So I'm going to count the number of terms. I have 3 terms in this inequality. I'm going to multiply each term by 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. -2 times 2 is -4. And then 4 times 6 is 24. We're going to distribute the 3, giving us 12x minus 6. Distribute -4, which will give us -24x minus 36 is less than or equal to 24. On the left-hand side, we have -12x minus 42 is less than or equal to 24. We're going to add 42 to both sides. -12x is less than or equal to 66. Divide both sides by -12. When I divide both sides by a negative, I have to flip the inequality, and I get x is greater than or equal to, I think we did this one before. 66 divided by 6 is 11. 12 divided by 6 is 2, so that would be -11/2. X is greater than or equal to, shades to the right, so our graph has a bracket at -11/2 and shades to the right, and our interval notation is -11/2, comma, positive infinity. And that concludes the instruction. Here are 2 tries. that you can try on your own. Go ahead and press pause